Aviation Scope, every Sunday at 7 p.m. only on Voice of the People TV. We don't just report, we reveal. We don't just ask, we uncover. Because when it comes to the skies, ignorance is turbulence. Aviation Scope, the sky isn't the limit, it's just the beginning.
To know the happenings in the maritime sector, join us on the program Maritime Frontiers on VOP TV as we discuss key areas in the maritime sector from aquaculture, maritime transportation, maritime labor regulation, oil and gas exploration, ferry and passenger insurance, marine pollution and prevention, port operations, and lots more. Maritime Frontiers, exploring Nigeria's blue economy.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
VOP TV. Now, you have more than a voice.
Hello and welcome to News Hour on Voice of the People TV. I am Vivian Oguche.
And I am Nenna Ndomdioto. Before we begin, kindly visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. First, the headlines. Rescued 130 St. Mary's School victims and families reunite.
The federal government declares kidnappers and bandits as terrorists.
Anglican Bishop tasks Southeast governors on stronger regional security.
The federal government declares holidays on December 25, 26 and January 1.
Presidency asks lawmakers to probe tax laws errors.
Public service applicants to undergo mandatory drug test.
On the foreign scene, new Trump envoy vows to make Greenland part of U.S.
Well, in business news, 600 graduate from WACT, APMT, entrepreneurship program.
In sport, Super Eagles remain 38th in latest world ranking.
Well, in entertainment news, Doris Ogala released 2 days after arrest.
Now the news in details. The 130 rescued pupils and teachers of St. Mary's Catholic Primary and Secondary School, Papiri, Niger State, have reunited with their families after the rescue on Sunday and formal presentation to Governor Mohamed Bago. They were handed over to the governor by the National Coordinator of the Counter-Terrorism Center, Major General Adamu Laka, retired. He revealed that the rescue operation was conducted in collaboration with the Office of the National Security Advisor, the Department of State Services, the police, and other security agencies. General Laka said all the children and their teachers were rescued and harmed, adding that it marked the end of the rescue mission as none of the victims remained in captivity. He further assured that both short-term protective measures and long-term community-based security solutions are being implemented for the safety and security of school pupils. Meanwhile, Governor Bago told newsmen that the release would allow families to celebrate Christmas together. However, he emphasized that it was unfair to ask whether a ransom was paid, adding that the priority was the rescue of the victims.
In the meantime, the federal government has officially classified kidnappers and violent armed groups operating across the country as terrorists, as Nigeria battles escalating abductions, killings, and attacks on farmers and persistent community violence. Announcing this during the federal government's end-of-year media briefing in Abuja, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, said the new designation marks a clear departure from treating mass kidnappings and rural attacks as conventional criminal acts. He noted that such groups will now be confronted with full counter-terrorism measures, stating that henceforth, any armed group or individual that kidnaps the children, attacks farmers, or terrorizes the communities are officially classified and will be dealt with as terrorists. According to him, the policy ends years of what he called unclear labels for violent groups terrorizing communities across the country, adding that the era of ambiguous nomenclature is over. The minister further explained that the new approach would enhance intelligence sharing and improve operational coordination among security agencies, enabling quicker and more decisive action against perpetrators of violence.
Meanwhile, the Bishop of the Anglican Diocese of Enugu, Professor Samuel Ike, has called on governors of the Southeast states to collaborate to form a robust security framework to address the region's rising insecurity, urging them to emulate their Southwest counterparts who have established a regional intelligence sharing arrangement to respond swiftly to security threats. Bishop Ike noted in his Christmas message the northern governors have also pooled resources to tackle insecurity in their region. He further called on President Bola Tinubu to take urgent steps to promote national unity, stating that this unity along tribal lines have continued to deepen in the country. According to him, the recent sentencing of Nnamdi Kanu has divided along tribal lines, as many perceive the justice was neither done nor seemed to have been done. Therefore, he urged the president to consider a political settlement with Kanu to help ease agitation in the southeast region.
And now the federal government has declared Thursday, the 25th of December, and Friday, the 26th, 2025, as public holidays to mark Christmas and Boxing Day. It also declared Thursday, January 1, 2026, as a public holiday for the New Year celebration. The Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, announced the holidays according to a statement by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Interior. On behalf of the federal government, the minister extended warm Christmas and New Year greetings to Nigerians and Christians around the world, as well as to all citizens. He stated that the festive season offers an important moment to reflect on the virtues of love, peace, humility, and sacrifice embodied in the birth of Jesus Christ, emphasizing that such values remain essential to strengthening unity, tolerance, and harmony across the country. Tunji-Ojo urged Nigerians, regardless of religious or ethnic identity, to use the season to pray for national peace, security, and progress, while supporting the government's broader efforts toward development and cohesion.
And as part of preparation for the season, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has ordered the strategic deployment of police personnel and operational assets across the country to ensure a safe, peaceful, and crime-free Christmas and New Year celebration. Force Public Relations Officer Benjamin Hudain said the order was in line with the agency's proactive security strategy for the festive season. According to him, the IGP has directed all zonal AIGs and state commissioners of police to intensify patrols, visibility policing, intelligence-led operations, and confidence-building engagement throughout the period. He added the specialized units, including the Police Mobile Force, Counter-Terrorism Unit, Explosive Ordnance Disposal Command, Intelligence Response Team, and Special Tactical Squad, among others, have been placed on heightened operational readiness. Hyundai said the deployment also focuses on places of worship, recreational centers, markets, parks, event venues, transport terminals, highways, critical national infrastructure, and other high-density public spaces.
And now to a story we've been following. The chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee, Taiwo Oyedele, has asked the National Assembly to probe the alleged discrepancies in the gazetted versions of the signed tax reform laws. Oyedele spoke during a local television program amid the controversy trailing the development and the growing calls by some prominent citizens to suspend the implementation of the tax laws. This followed claims by a member of the House of Representatives, Abdul Samad Dasuki, that there were discrepancies between the tax bills passed by the National Assembly and the versions later gazetted and made available to the public. Dismissing the claims as misleading, however, Oyedele said the alleged discrepancies cannot be verified without access to the officially certified versions of the bills passed by lawmakers, which only the National Assembly has. He explained that even members of the executive arm, including himself, only had access to the versions presented to President Bola Tinubu for assent.
Still on allegedly altered tax bills, the Action Democratic Party, ADP, has warned that such an act constitutes a serious breach of the Constitution and poses a threat to democratic governance if proven to be true. Addressing the media on the state of the nation, ADP National Chairman Yabagi Sani called for a thorough investigation into the matter, stressing that legislative authority rests solely with Parliament. He added that Nigeria's tax data is a strategic national asset and must be protected from unclear foreign control. On security, Sani warned that recycling officials within a broken system cannot solve the nation's insecurity, adding that in spite of the defense spending exceeding 4 trillion naira annually, insecurity persists, driven by political interference, corruption, fragmented intelligence, and a lack of accountability.
Well, in another development, the federal government has approved a new policy for a mandatory pre-employment drug testing as key requirement for all prospective entrants into the public service. The directive was issued through a service-wide circular from the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation to all ministers, departments and agencies, MDAs, and extra-ministerial departments. In a statement, the Director of Information and Public Relations in the OSJF said the measure is part of efforts to tackle the rising menace of illicit drug use and its attendant consequences on national development and security. The circular instructed permanent secretaries and heads of government parastatals to include mandatory drug testing as a core requirement in the recruitment of new personnel. It further directed MDAs to collaborate with the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, in the conduct of the tests, in line with established standards and procedures.
Away from that report, the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, commended the Rivers State Governor, Simi Nilayi Fubara, for what he described as his responsible leadership, stating that President Bola Tinubu is happy with him. Ribadu, who spoke on Monday when he led a presidential delegation comprising the Minister of Works, David Umahi, the Minister of Environment, Balarabe Lawal, and top officials of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited on a courtesy visit to the Rivers State Government House in Port Harcourt, said that state is one of the most peaceful in the country. He told the governor that the delegation was in the state to consolidate ongoing peace efforts in Ogoni land, noting that a new chapter was unfolding in the state's Ogoni ethnic nationality, that Nigeria would no longer be what it used to be, with the transformation beginning from the area. According to him, President Tinubu specifically directed him to thank Fubara, expressing happiness with his leadership style and coordination of the discussion on the resumption of oil exploration in Ogoni.
Well, joining us virtually to analyze these stories is a management accounting expert and public affairs analyst, Chijoke Oji. Chijoke, always a pleasure to have you join us. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening.
All right. Let's get right to business, shall we? So the 130 rescued pupils and teachers of St. Mary's Catholic Primary and Secondary School, Papiri, Niger State, have reunited with their families after their rescue on Sunday and formal presentation to Governor Muhammad Bago. But the bummer is shortly after that, a former Kaduna State Governor, former FCT Minister, Nasir El-Rufai, came on a televised interview to say that, look, government is paying these bandits monies to release these abductees, and that they give them feeding allowance, they even give them all sorts of emoluments and all. So what do you make of the release of these girls who have been reunited with their families? And of course, this bomber that El-Rufai just dropped again.
I'm happy that these children can be said to be free, at least from the trauma. You know, only one can imagine what these children have been through in the past weeks of being separated from their homes. We do not know the arrangement, the Nigerian military, which the spokesperson, the media mouth spokesperson of the president said, that the military is collaborating, working, and relating with these individuals that are perpetrating these heinous crimes. We cannot say what these children have gone through, or perhaps, you know, if it was an organized crime that they were kept in a confined environment, perhaps even within a flat, you know, and then are now said to have probably been taken care of and now can be said to unite with their family, because it's heartbreaking if we look at the trauma if these kids were kept in the forest or probably went through this whole gruesome charade of activities, which the former governor and former FCT minister is now coming to always tell Nigerians. This is not the first time he's telling Nigerians to wake up and act and do the needful in asking for accountability of all this nasty, childish drama. Because it's become childish in the sense that, I mean, it's the same scenario being recreated all the time. And then nobody is asking of, you know, how these children, you know, should have probably gone some sort of therapy, you know, before uniting with their families. Because these are the victims of all of these, you know, dramas between the federal constituted governance and the perpetrators of these crimes. So it is what it is, in the sense that a crime, and Nigerians are going about their businesses like it's normal, you know. And most gruesome and painful about it is that they have not in any way at all said, let them clamp on El-Rufai that he's lying. You know, either the government disregards the statement by ignoring it or acknowledging it, because silence in this case is an acknowledgement of the fact that these exist and it is happening. The only painful aspect is that the victims are the common men on the street, these children. Look at how tender these children. Most of them can be said to be within the ages of 7 or even less than that. And you can imagine what they have gone through, forcefully being kept away from the sight of the people they are used to, which are their parents, or perhaps their teachers, or the housemasters, or the caretakers, or people that they have known for a long time, only to be held and harassed by individuals wielding arms, and only God knows what these children have gone through in the hands of these orchestrated criminals that have now been said to be working with the states. So it's painful. It is really absolutely painful. And the fact that Nigerians are walking about like it's just a business as usual. You know, perhaps if the statement did not come from Trump to demand for accountability, it would be a business as usual. Now the current administration has gone to in its usual manner, wanting to ensure that the 2027 election is now being given as a great gift by ensuring the bloated defense budget. My pity is that the current chief of defense staff and his teams, along with the current minister of defense, not get themselves completely messed up with killing their career and all the image they have built and perhaps still being respected before now.
Okay, Chijioke, one of the things that the governor said while, of course, during the release of these children, when he received them, he said that he emphasized that it was unfair to ask whether a ransom was paid, adding that the priority was the rescue of the victims. Do you really think that this statement is it's the way to go? Because shouldn't we as Nigerians, don't we need to know how these kids were released? Because someone actually said that you won't call this a rescue, but rather a release. Because if it's a rescue, we should see bandits, or we should see the kidnappers who are now being detained. But none of that is seen at this point.
Yeah, it's an orchestrated drama. And the governor talking to Nigerians in that manner, these are already candidates for Buba Marwa to run his tests. Because the truth is that many of these governors have lost their senses, or they are completely addicted to the drugs they take. It's not normal for an individual who is meant to be accountable to the people. The fact that he is on administration does not mean there are no better heads than him. And for every kobo that is being spent there, is not belonging to him. These are the taxpayers who he owns responsibilities and a sense of duty to answer and respond to questions when these questions are, even without Nigerians asking. There should be an accountability to all of these nasty dramas that is taking place. And then for people now to raise these questions and ask reasonably, and we're getting response from this as a man who is meant to be, or who is said to, or claiming to be the chief security officer of the state, that he could not keep the children secured. And all this is happening. Perhaps we should even be thanking El-Rufai for his boldness to speaking truth to the power. That one thing we should be begging El-Rufai and this world is to join the call for the international interventions. That, in fact, rather than wait for tomorrow, they should deploy the military along with the other regions, including the EU, so that Nigeria can be rescued. Because it's obvious that this criminality network is orchestrated to keep the people perpetually poor and in fear. Imagine said to be a governor telling Nigerians not to ask because they feel that they have no right to, because they have become emperors and rulers. It is very shameful that we have youths being distracted by social media and their futures are being destroyed and collapsed by individuals who have no out of care, but have continued to senselessly abuse the serenity of our dear culture and the way of life of our people. And now have gotten to a level where they now call everybody perpetually fools. It is unacceptable action, but an immediate response from including the federal government must be given to Nigerians as a means of accountability to all of this mess. Because it is not only enough now to say, oh, now that the children have been released, or the ones that have been released, what about the kidnappings that took place yesterday? You know, it's not only the children that were held captive. There are other kidnapped persons in different states, including the those states, that are yet to be rescued as we speak this moment. So if the totality of this government is meant to be sincere, it begins with accountability. If they have been negotiating with the terrorists and they have been paying these people's salaries, perhaps that was the need to increase the defense budget, let Nigerians know. So if that is the only way now to employ Nigerians, then so that it becomes official. The annoyance of the people have not been able to translate to accountability. It is until when it becomes a breakdown of law and order that they would hear. And they will be the biggest losers. If they feel that they have secured heaven on earth in Nigeria, they will lose all. Because for anybody who has witnessed the NSAS, which was just a taste of the iceberg, and we must completely desist from calling our dear brothers and sisters of Nigerians who, are contesting and protesting to be referred to as miscreants. Imagine the made by people said to be in power who have stolen elections. I'm not referring to the presidency, but I'm referring to all those who have stolen the elections and continue to give the impression that they have become lords, and only to come back again in less than a year to come now and begin to make Nigerians to forget. But like the whipped chicken, which feathers is being plucked. If you give it corn, it will eat. That's what Nigerians have become.
Wow.
But they have been lured to a point where, even in the midst of pain and cries and sheds, Nigerians will still accept 1,000 naira to not only betray, but to support the same emperors who have continued to destroy every structure of governance and development meant to be occurring in our dear state.
Well, Chijoke, there are so many stories. There are so many stories I would like for us to analyze. Yeah. So, but I'd like for you for us to end on the note that you said that these children should undergo some form of therapy to ensure that they don't live with a lifelong trauma. Yeah. But
those poor children.
yeah. We are glad they are fine. But I want us to talk about something else we mentioned, or we talked about some months ago, talking about calling bandits bandits. Well, the federal government has officially classified kidnappers and violent armed groups operating across the country as terrorists. As Nigeria battles escalating abduction. Can I land? I just want to give you context so you understand what's happening. So the federal government is saying they are no longer called bandits, but terrorists, so that they can be treated as terrorists, because what they do is abduct children, kill people, attack farmers, and, carry on with persistent community violence. I know this is a subject you and I touched on some months ago. So do you think this is really the right thing to do at this moment? That this is right on the money?
Now terrorists, especially with those who maim and kill, all in the name of it is headers crisis, it is headsmen and all that. I mean, it's painful till date. The criminal Fulanis, the people I call criminal Fulanis, are the people who have been taking advantage of using the Fulani people to continuously enrich themselves. The people in power who have never done anything meaningful to defend their people. As a matter of fact, the Fulani people should be fighting them, because they are the people who have continued to use their numbers to use in amassing themselves wealth and labeling the Fulani people to become a bad dog that once you see it anywhere, you should kill them. It is not to say that the same Fulanis do not have the same bad eggs that are being used as to perpetrate all of these evil acts. Just like Gabashai, who during his spokesperson of the previous administration started with the word headsmen and bandits. It was them that used those words. Because when the real words were the criminal, terrorist, the first captured journalistic reports regards these killings were captured as terrorists. But Galba and his friend Femi, the co-coup plotters, because they're the ones who actually messed Nigerians up, and they should be held accountable. We'll come to that later someday. And these individuals started to brand them as, it's headers and bandits. Well, what is the name bandits? What's the terminology called bandits? And then today, they have been the ones, the presidency uses deodorants to spray on with effective meals and salaries. And these individuals continue to display this affluence of wealth in front of all across the world, without the government now doing anything, only to now turn around and say that the same people, the spokesperson of the current president administration, told Nigerians and the rest of the world that the Nigerian military and all its parastatal agencies have been in talks, know the whereabouts of these people, know their locality, know where they are, and even know them as individuals, and have been relating with them, is now turning around now to term them as terrorists. The same people that the office of the NSA has been paying them, and they have been spending billions and billions of nairas to pay these individuals and arm them. Is it not just recently that some arms were recovered and the individuals were claiming to have been licensed by the office of the NSA? And yet, it's now being swallowed. The same people also, the current governor of Kaduna State, Obasani, came out to tell Nigerians, yes, that they're paying so they can have peace. Have we not seen the same thing taking place in Zamfara, taking place in Katsina, taking place across almost all the northern states, including some part of the southern states. They have not been admitting it. Let the governors tell you what they have been doing to ensure that this is a bit copped. It's because they too have been paying. If they dare and say that this is a lie, we shall bring records to counter that, because these evidences are everywhere now. And let us even look at what this name branding as terrorists does. Does it now imply that when you now brand them as terrorists and they eventually carry out these acts, which they have not stopped? I think they have made some kidnaps today. Travelers were disrupted on Ore and other roads today, and the government is not telling Nigerians the way forward for Nigerians that are trapped on the way and at the mercy of these same kidnappers. It doesn't mean now that the military will now shoot them on spot, or that the police will not take charge to arresting them and prosecuting them, or if need be, imprisoning them. They now mean. Because we have become a country that negotiates with individuals of the same caliber. And if we're now saying no more to negotiation, the Nigerian military has demonstrated the capacity to even go after these individuals. The same military that are being sacked from barracks, the same military that are losing their weapons and losing their own armories on daily basis, unaccounted for, is the same armories or the same military that we're so hoping would now rescue Nigerians from the terrorism. You see, the problem is we have not realized that the bigger problem is these individuals are not only emboldened, but they have seen the weakness in the system. That even those who are said to have been negotiating on their behalf have also been stealing from them. Is it not just recently one of the terrorist ringleader came out to say he never received money that was made claim to have been spent or given to him by one of the ministers, you know? And the individual came out to refute it and said he never received any of this money. So have there been any probe? Has the National Assembly invited the minister to say, explain what has happened? Or has any of the state governors asked any of these individuals to explain? It is the same game. What is even most painful is that these individuals have continued to borrow to fund these mindless and senseless, endless games that will not only continue to reap the future of the Nigerians, but will ensure that all the entire assets of Nigerians are being mortgaged. Perhaps Nigerians should know is the major bench of financing our budgets has been mortgaged and is being continued to be mortgaged. Is it the other natural resources that are not being mortgaged? Where then would Nigeria run to in terms of fundings? Because it has continued to amplify and embolden these state actors. It's a pity that we have not seen any real means to accountability, which should have been the benchmark or even one of the things Nigerians should be celebrating. That before we can say to have branded these individuals as terrorists, we must have been able to capture them. Who are you branding as terrorists? The unknown men or the known men?
Okay.
Who? So it's a pity that the whole thing is imaginary. Nobody's being held accountable, including the same Minister of Defense today will still come and go, and the blames will continue to be on the Jonathan administration, and even get to Obasanjo administration.
Okay, Chijoke, let me come in here. Of course, still talking security. A bishop has actually called on governors of the Southeast states to collaborate to form a robust security framework. We've seen different sectors, different regions, the Southwest regions that come out to talk about this. And of course, we've seen the Northern region as well. But the Southeast looks like they've just been sitting and not doing anything. Now, this bishop is saying at the Southeast, governors should collaborate because insecurity in the Southeast is actually getting higher. So what do you make of this? Is this the way to go? Should there be more collaboration by the Southeast governors?
Ideally, it would have made more sense because the Southeast initially enacted the Eastern Security Network. But the problem is always the funding because when it becomes a situation of thief, then for those who understand the language would know how to dissect and know where the problem is actually judged to. It's been difficult to unite our people at the Southeast. Why? Because within the same Southeast that is clamoring to be united, exists the biggest disharmony of trust. And so long as they cannot trust themselves to work together, then there's a bigger problem amongst and around it. So if we're to look at it today, we have majorly now, almost APC have taken over the entire Southeast region, apart from Anambra State now, which is still ABGA. But has that really brought the peace or the needed progress, apart from Anambra and Abia State, which is Labour and ABGA? But has it brought the unity needed? The answer is no. The Southeast region, incidentally, have over the years been a flashpoint. Why? Because of the initial disagreements between the Southeast region on the way forward with regards to security. The initial formation of the Eastern Security Network was said to be the Biafra IPOB organization. And at that point in time, you had individuals who were volunteering and were actually securing the forest and also around homes. As of today, I'm aware that many states, many of the local governments have enacted their own independent security networks that have been protecting their forests and also protecting their homes. That is why we have lesser crimes now within the Southeast. But it would have been an ideal thing if they say they cannot collaborate together to have what you have in the Southwest as Moteco. It would have been nice also to look at each state independently, setting up its own security network, just like you have in Adamawa and other states. And in that way, it is able to secure its borders and also secure the internal states and ensure that when issues of such nature arises, it's able to cover it in the boards. That will also ensure that this issue of kidnapping is a thing of the past. But the problem is accountability. While we have seen, yes, some state governors within the Southeast making progress, especially in infrastructure, some have continued to become the major donor agencies. They donate here, they donate there, they host British prime ministers and some other former British prime ministers and so others, in all in the projection that the state is working. But is it really working for the people? Only time will tell. The major issue is not even just setting up these security networks. How will these individuals be able to fund the state police that is being envisioned? Because the truth to be said, most of this will have issues with state funders. That's one of the problems I project. It's not even about the abuse that will take place with the governors and other state actors taking advantage of the setting of the state police, but it is the funding. Because if indeed you begin to arm people now, what will happen when the state police is set up?
That's $1 billion question. Chidoke, can I quickly come in here? Because I've been told I have just 3 more minutes with you, and I want to make judicious use of it. Now, the bishop in question is the bishop of the Anglican Diocese of Enugu, Professor Sam Aleke. So you talked about accountability. Another thing he said is pivotal is intelligence sharing. He also said that the president must promote unity. Case in point, the issue of Nnamdi Kanu. He said that Nigerians are not really sure of Nnamdi Kanu's sentencing and they are perceiving injustice being done. And he concluded his statement by saying that the president should take a look or consider a political solution and release Nnamdi Kanu. Please, in a minute, what's your reaction to that?
Well, I concur with what he said, especially with the fact that the aftermath words that was said by the First Lady didn't sink well, because when the First Lady was, said to have said, these are just what I didn't see it on any of the news channels, that but she pleaded with the husband. Incidentally, when you begin to showcase Nigerians that the judiciary arm of Nigeria is now under negotiation of what you want, it is no longer about the independency or the findings of the judiciary. Then you have killed the judiciary. In fact, what you have done is that you have actually murdered the judiciary. So the best thing would have been to employ political solutions to this, because what the judiciary has delivered has not only, sunk in to some quarters as a complete bias, because there was no complete justification to the grave sentence to the individuals. I'm not saying that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a saint, but there should be a justification to why you sentence a man to death or to even life imprisonment. Was this individual arrested with arms? The answer is no. Was this individual in any way at all upset to have killed anybody directly? The answer is no. Then the judgment is faulty. Because what you simply have done is to have shown the biasness of the judge. It's just clear, simple terms of if what the judgment was delivered based on the evidences provided and the justification for it, then it does not translate to what we are seeing with other individuals who are now being caught with arms red-handed. And today, they are the ones now jailing people. I will continue to toe on the words of Omoyele Sowore, who says that people who should be in jail are the people jailing people. Nigerians better wake up. 2026 is another better year for Nigerians now to demand for accountability.
Okay.
And it shouldn't go by without Nigerians having justice and fairness and equity. That should be the way forward.
Thank you very much, Chijioke, for being with us. Thank you very much for your analysis. Intelligent as usual.
Thank
you. We've been speaking with Chijioke Oji. He's a public affairs analyst. Moving on, in a sustained effort to curb criminal activities, the Edo State government has intensified crackdown on kidnappers by demolishing illegal hideouts along the Okpela-Okene Expressway. The operation targeted notorious locations along the Oguda-Buas cement axis, a stretch long plagued by abductions, signaling the government's determination to restore safety for residents and motorists. Correspondent Rhoda Johnny tells us more.
Demolished illegal structures along the Okpala-Okene Expressway used as hideouts by suspected kidnappers. The operation targeted the Obu-Ugadabuas cement houses, an area long feared by residents and motorists due to repeated abductions. The exercise, carried out by the Edo State Development and Building Control Agency with support from police and Nigerian Army personnel, led by DCP Benjamin Abang, removed the criminal bases without casualties despite resistance from suspects who blocked the expressway. Officials said the demolition is part of an intensified crackdown on kidnappers with continuous surveillance and patrols planned to prevent a resurgence along the high-risk corridor. In Benin, Rhoda Johnny, VOP TV News.
Yeah, thank you. And now, United States President Donald Trump has recalled his country's ambassador to Nigeria, Richard Mills, as part of a sweeping diplomatic shakeup affecting over 24 American missions worldwide, with Africa emerging as the most impacted continent. His departure comes amid ongoing efforts by both countries to strengthen bilateral ties. Nigeria is among 15 African countries whose envoys have been recalled. Others affected on the continent include Algeria, Burundi, Cameroon, Cape Verde, Gabon, Cote d'Ivoire, Egypt, and Madagascar, among others. State Department officials said the affected chiefs of mission were informed last week that their tenures will end in January. The recall forms part of a broader effort to align U.S. diplomatic representation abroad with President Trump's America First foreign policy priorities.
The World Health Organization, WHO, has appointed Director General of the Nigerian Natural Medicine Development Agency, NNMDA, Professor Martins Imeje, as a member of a strategic and technical advisory group on traditional, complementary, and integrative medicine. He was appointed alongside 19 other experts from different parts of the world. He was also appointed a co-chair by group members at the just concluded WHO Global Summit on Traditional Medicine in New Delhi, India. The establishment of the group represented a significant step in implementing WHO Global Traditional Medicine Strategy 2025 to 2034. Imeje told newsmen in Abuja that his appointment to the body was to ensure that Nigeria, alongside other African countries, aligns with global standards in the practice of traditional medicine. He assured that the natural medicine ecosystem will now also bloom in Nigeria as it joins others to discuss how traditional, complementary, and integrative medicine would develop in the entire world.
Well, on the foreign scene, President Donald Trump has sparked a fresh row with Denmark after appointing a special envoy to Greenland, the vast Arctic island he has said he would like to annex. Trump announced that Republican Governor of Louisiana, Jeff Landry, will become the United States Special Envoy to Greenland, a semi-autonomous part of the Kingdom of Denmark. On his part, Landry said in a post on X that it was an honor to serve in a volunteer position to make Greenland a part of the U.S. The move has angered Copenhagen, which said it will call the U.S. ambassador for an explanation. Greenland's prime minister said the island must decide its own future, adding that its territorial integrity must be respected.
Still on the foreign scene, new court documents have disclosed that a suspected gunman in the Bondi Beach attack threw explosives at the start of the deadly incident and had practiced shooting weeks before the incident. They alleged that the pair meticulously planned the attack for months and visited Bondi for reconnaissance 2 days prior to the shooting. 15 people were killed and dozens more injured when 2 gunmen opened fire on a Hanukkah celebration on December 14. According to the documents, explosives, including a tennis ball bomb, fell to the detonator. Meanwhile, 24-year-old Naveed Akram has been charged with 59 offenses, including 15 counts of murder and 1 of terror. A second gunman, his father, Sajid Akram, was shot dead by police at the scene.
Well, still on the foreign scene, officials say that Russia's Lieutenant General Vanil Savarov has been killed in a car bombing in Moscow. According to Russia's investigative committee, Savarov died on Monday morning after an explosive device planted under a car detonated. He was the 3rd military official to have been killed in bomb attacks in the Russian capital over the last year. 56-year-old Savarov was the head of the Armed Forces Operational Training Department. The committee said, adding that one theory being investigated was that the bomb was planted with the involvement of Ukrainian intelligence services. Ukraine has yet to comment on the matter. Savarov died in hospital as a result of his injuries, the committee said, adding that it had opened an investigation into murder and illegal trafficking of explosives. Investigators have been sent to the scene in a car park near an apartment block in the south of Moscow.
We now move on to business. An additional 600 beneficiaries have graduated from the WACT APM terminals, Nigeria's 4th and 5th WACT Perennial Program, targeting its host communities of Onne and Ogu in Rivers State. It is designed to strengthen small businesses by providing hands-on training in key business essentials, including merchandising, customer relations, record keeping, supply chain management, credit sales, sourcing of finance, business integrity, and cash flow management. Speaking on behalf of the Managing Director, J2 Yose, WACT Senior People Business Partner, Chinelo Obieyem, urged the beneficiaries to apply the acquired knowledge to grow their enterprises and contribute to local economic development. She said the celebration was about determination, resilience, and the entrepreneurial spirit within the host communities. She also explained that through the program, participants have been equipped with practical skills to build sustainable businesses that can positively impact their families and communities. The company is confident that the skills required through this program will enable the graduates to create jobs, expand their businesses, and serve as role models for entrepreneurship within their communities.
Well, in sports news, Nigeria's Super Eagles have retained their 38th position in the latest FIFA Men's World Ranking with a total of 1,502 points as they had in November. This follows the absence of competitive matches since then. Currently in Morocco for the 35th Africa Cup of Nations AFCON tournament, the Super Eagles follow Morocco, Senegal, Egypt, and Algeria as African teams in the FIFA rankings. Morocco are still Africa's top team in 11th position, while Senegal is ranked 19th in the world, with Algeria and Egypt ranked 34th and 35th, respectively. In the rest of Africa's top 10 are Tunisia in 44th, Cote d'Ivoire in 42nd, Mali in 53rd, DR Congo in 56th, and Cameroon in 57th position. Meanwhile, after regaining the top spot from Argentina in September 2025, Spain remains at the top of the global rankings, trailed by England, Brazil, Portugal, and the Netherlands, among others.
Still in sports, the Confederation of African Football (CAF) has officially unveiled the African Nations League, a new annual competition aimed at showcasing the continent's top national teams and players. CAF explained that the league will offer a consistent world-class platform for senior national teams, providing African players with greater exposure and more opportunities to display their talents on the continental stage. Announcing the initiative on its official X handle on Monday, CAF stated that the competition is designed to strengthen African football by encouraging more competitive matches, supporting player development, and boosting fan engagement across the continent.
Well, in entertainment news, actress Doris Ogala has been released from police custody. Doris was released on Monday after spending 2 days in police detention. Doris was arrested on Saturday evening after calling out a popular Lagos-based pastor, Chris Okafor, on social media for allegedly deceiving her with a marriage promise, among other allegations. Her arrest sparked diverse reactions from Nigerians, with many online personalities, including Very Darkman, calling for her release. Celebrating her release, Doris, in a post on her Instagram page Monday afternoon, thanked human rights activist and politician Omoyele Sowore and Very Darkman for their efforts.
Autos Court, the director of late actor Odira Nwobu, has confirmed that the autopsy result circulating about the skit maker is indeed true. Nwobu passed away in South Africa with high blood pressure, initially cited as a cause of his death. The security agency in the country planned to investigate the incident, and an autopsy was scheduled to be conducted. Recently, news broke that the autopsy result had been finalized. The report also claimed the autopsy indicated that Odira Nwobu died from poisoning. In a media chat, court confirmed the autopsy report, expressing dismay at the development. Some of the late actor's fans have, however, pointed out that poisoning does not necessarily mean foul play, suggesting that it could have been caused by something his body could not tolerate. They encouraged his management to investigate the type of poisoning that led to his death. Recall that Nwobu's friends were earlier blamed for his death, with one content creator claiming that Odira went on a roller coaster ride despite his deteriorating health.
Well, that wraps it up for us, News Up. But before we go, a quick look at the headlines. We told you that the rescued 130 St. Mary's School victims and families reunite.
Also, federal government declares kidnappers and bandits as terrorists.
Also, Anglican Bishop talks Southeast Gulfs on stronger regional security.
Federal government declares holidays on December 25, 26, and January 1.
Presidency asks lawmakers to probe tax laws errors.
Public service applicants to undergo mandatory drug tests.
While on the foreign scene, new Trump envoy vows to make Greenland part of U.S.
In business, 800 graduate from WACT APMT Entrepreneurship Program.
Sports news, Super Eagles remain 38th in latest world ranking.
In entertainment, Doris Ogala released 2 days after arrest. Do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV, and on other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. You witness news happening near you, we want to hear from you. Send your eyewitness reports, event coverage requests, photos, or videos directly via WhatsApp to 06 4057. You can also reach our newsroom by email at news@vop.ng. I am Nenna Ndomdioto.
And I'm Vivian Oguche. Thank you for watching.
ẹ̀yin tèmi ní nàìjíríà lókè òkun mò ń kí yín fún kérésìmesì ọdún yìí á yabo fún wa o gbogbo àlàrí bá ti ṣe tààrọ náà gbégbá o. I wish my fans all over the world in Europe, America, Australia, everywhere a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. Catch ya next year.
As the year comes to an end, we want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for your hard work, dedication, and the positive vibe you bring to Voice of the People every day. From all of us on the HR, we would like to say Merry Christmas, a happy, prosperous, and healthy New Year. Thank you.
This is to wish you a wonderful, spirit-filled and Merry Christmas from Matthew Ogunswada.
This year has been so amazing with you in it. And that's why we're saying from Voice of the People TV, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And we love you.
You've been wonderful all through the year. And this is from us, Voice of the People Television, saying Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year to you all. See you at the top.
Do you want your voice to be heard? Do you know that you matter in the scheme of things? The People's Voice, the show where ordinary citizens take center stage as we discuss the biggest stories that affect you and I. With you in mind, we facilitate lively discussions, debates, and interviews on the topics that matter most to you and I. From social justice to economic empowerment, education to healthcare, governance, and more. Tackling tough topics and amplifying your voice. Join the conversation and make your voice count. The People's Voice. Make your voice count.
This is Health Check, your weekly guide to better living, smarter choices, and trusted answers. From everyday wellness to urgent health issues, we've got you covered. Health Check only on Voice of the People Television, where your health has a voice.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
Mr. Ofamiloni, and here's to VOP TV. Keep watching, stay tuned, do not touch that dial.
Arara, my name is Made Kuti, and you're watching BOP TV. Keep watching.
Welcome, my name is Zika Davis. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, boys, viewers, everybody, boys and girls. TV. Do you know what that means? Voice of the People TV. You don't have a voice, don't come here. You better make sure your voice is heard.
Good morning and welcome to VOP this morning. It's the 22nd day in the month of December, and that's intentional, all right? Letting you know that Christmas is just around the corner. And I haven't heard a lot of carols being played on, street corners and the rest. Maybe in homes, maybe in cars, maybe on the radio. But I haven't heard a lot of carols being played. Are people less interested in the season?
No, people are not less interested in the season. I think the corporates were waiting for the budget of 2026.
Okay.
Now that the budget is out, let's see.
Let's see what they will do.
People are going to have.
Well, if they're waiting for the budget, some corporate organizations take the lead in celebrating Christmas. One of them is Zenith Bank. Okay. I mean, I will take the risk of naming them here. They take the lead in terms of decorating a particular part of Lagos. Exactly. And I think there's another bank around the corner here who's also taking the lead. But you see, like I said this before, I said this here one day, that we are situated close to the international airport and we don't see decorations. On Friday, when I was crossing the road to the other side, where you have Ajawo Estate area, there were 4 cows on the median. Even this morning, yeah?
Friday,
on the median, all right? And they just sauntered onto the road and, basically just sauntered to the other side, and it affected traffic.
As senior citizens.
An individual almost ran into one because he was coming at top speed. He probably didn't see the cow on time. He had to apply the brakes, and I'm like, guy, you need to be careful, because if you run into these things, it will affect your car. And it might affect your life as well. Exactly.
But I might need to pay for the cow.
You might. Double problem. You might need to pay for the cow.
As a matter of fact, I think the big problem, in recent time, I can't recall the budget coming this late. So that's why I tie the
in recent time since Tinubu's administration.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's why I tie the lack of carols to people, the corporates expecting the budget to come, so that they will open it and say, what's the need for us?
Which budget are we even talking about? Is it the one that was submitted? Is it the 2026 to 2028
No,
that's the framework? Or is it the one? Because
the 2026
we're getting at I think I heard something about having a little discrepancy with the figures. One having
that's
54.4 trillion. Another one now, they have added another 4 trillion again.
Yeah, the 2026 budget, the figure that the minister rolled out initially is quite different from the budget the president rolled out.
Okay.
The same story surrounding the tax reform and all that.
A lot of issues in Nigeria. But anyway, welcome to VOP this morning. I am Moses Humphrey. You met my colleagues already.
I am Chukwu Makoro. Thanks for joining us.
And I'm Fina. Okay, Chukwu, glad to have you on board.
So the problems we discuss in Nigeria are just so enormous, and it keeps getting interesting by the day, all right? And talking about the tax reforms, FIR's office got burnt on, was it Friday or Saturday morning, got burnt, and Nigerians are saying, why now?
Well, that's not a problem. We know where the Gazette is. It's not in the FIRS. We know where the Gazette is.
Oh, well, let's take you through the conversations we're having this morning. Tax laws alteration Presidency denies claims. Atiku Obi demand probe. Nigerians actually are demanding for probe. Wike Makinde faction remain adamant despite INEC intervention. That's talking about PDP crisis. And also, CJN charges judiciary to guard credibility ahead of 2027 polls. Now, these are the conversations that we will focus on this month. But there are others that Nigerians are talking about, and we will chime in on them as well.
All right, talking about other trending stories that Nigerians are chiming in, just for you to know that you can also key in and also give us a contribution during this program. Just do the needful by. And if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, do what to subscribe, okay? And YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV. Across other social media platforms, we have VOP TV Live. On the trending story today, the Kebbi State government has denied allegations that it was behind the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission's EFCC detention of former Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami. According to the government, the petitions against Malami being investigated by the EFCC did not originate from Kebbi State, but rather from Abuja, from some of Malami's colleagues. Interesting. Now, the question on my mind is, why should we have people coming up to say, that someone will be called in for questioning, for probing, and then we'll start giving it arms and legs, a political connotation, this person is being reshot, if you're here. Although I don't really blame the public, or I don't blame the people who perceive it that way, because it's under this present administration that someone made a statement that if you're to cross-carpet to a particular party, your sins will be forgiven, though he come up to say that was not what he meant. But if you check out what is playing out, we have the former Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Federation, Abubakar Malami, being called in for questioning regarding some things that Nigerians need to know about Abacha loot and all that. And someone is saying, no, it's he's been politically witch-hunted. We're seeing this because he left APC for ADC. They're trying to keep his wings and all that.
It speaks to how we like to, parry issues. We like to parry issues. The fact of the matter is, were funds misappropriated? Are there missing funds? Do we have justification for the monies recovered at that time? I mean, if there are questions to be answered, I think the man should come in and answer questions. The fact that he has left, but you see, it's difficult to now separate one from the other. Persecution because of party affiliations from actual allegation of crimes committed. It's difficult because
I like the fact. I'm sorry, Moses. I like the fact that you talked about the separation between persecution and actual fight against corruption. You were on this program once. You said why in all of this? Why is it that they are not persecuting Peter Obi? If it is political persecution,
yes,
because he's not with them.
He's not with them, and like I said that time, because they don't have anything on the man.
So it speaks to the fact that, look, he who goes to equity
come with clean hands.
And the fact that I think it also speaks to our fault lines, how we run things here in Nigeria. At times I've looked into history and I begin to think, is it an African thing? Does it have to do with our cosmology? When, like Moses and I are from the same state now, and Moses serves as a minister, and now Fina says, oh, look, Chukuma, Moses took $2 billion that belongs to Nigeria. And instead of me saying he did or he did not, I say, okay, what of Ebere? Ebere also took. So
you
why
can imagine?
But all the same, to avoid such stories or such, people or such statement being made by Nigerians, I think whatever thing is good for the girls should be good for Uganda. If you want to probe people who are corrupt, you have to start from the top. You have to make sure that you don't leave any reason for people to think you're taking sides.
That is what we are driving. I think it runs around our lives, and as Africans, we are very protective of ourselves. And in the process of protecting ourselves, we even harm ourselves. And that is when we speak to tribalism. Ethnicity in itself is not a bad concept. But to what use do you put that ethnicity? A situation where, like in the history of Nigeria, the Igbo State Union, the Oduduwa, the Emo-Ogbo Oduduwa that Awolowo formed and all of that. And the idea was to unify people, in terms of community development, local efforts, collective initiatives and all of that. But it got to a point where people now started using it against other tribes and other ethnic groups. That is when it became a problem. It is basically not a problem. That is how human beings are structured.
Yeah.
You know, like Michael Obidin in his book, The Dead Lagoon, said, look, you don't expect me to love what I love if I don't hate what I don't love. You get the point. So when we become too productive, so what we need to do at this point is to grow beyond those local
Which will take a lot of deliberate effort.
A lot of deliberate effort.
Yes, we need to
It,
move
speaks,
beyond.
it also reminds me what happened in Delta State when Iburi, bolted away with a lot of money belonging to Delta State. And the federal government, in their joining efforts recovered some. Meanwhile, at that time, Delta people said, no, we are not looking for our money. But when federal government recovered the money, Delta State said, oh, this is money.
Give us our money.
Give us our money. Federal government said, which money? I thought you said you were not looking for your money. So now that, but I understand that this is not Kebbi State money.
No, it's not.
It's Abacha's
not.
list.
But
It's
see,
Abacha's
the point I was
but it
driving
belongs
at,
to all of us Nigerians.
the point I was even driving at is the fact that why is it that some of these things come up when there are interests, political interests?
Okay.
That's the fact. That's the point I'm driving at. Now we hear he wants to contest for the governorship of the state.